Now, what is up, my fellow prod coders? Welcome to this video, and today we will continue working on our Yelp application. So before we continue, let's maybe commit the changes we have. So I pull open my source tree, and please make sure to not commit this config file, which contains your own bureau token. And in here, you can just say kick off multiple searches. Okay, just write something in here so that you know what we did. And it should be done now. Okay, nice. So now that we've our stuff committed, let's continue. Now, one problem we have here is, say if we change the city, then we load the search result, but the URL doesn't change. And there's another thing. Sometimes it takes like super long to load, and it's just super strange because there's no indication to the customer about what the application is doing. So there should be some form of spinner to indicate that it's currently doing something and that it's loading some data. And the data loading can be a little bit slower because we are proxying the requests through this Course Anywhere app, which is a free application, so it's clear that it's not lightning fast. But it's a great application. Like, shout out to the persons who did it. Very, very nice. With this, it's like super easy to build tutorials. So back to the topic. Let's go to our code and let's go to our search component. So right now we just console log our something, and then we perform the search. But what we actually want is we want to redirect the user as well. So let's just say once someone clicks search, we redirect the user. So we adapt the term and location parameters over here, and then we kick off a new search. So that shouldn't be too hard. And in fact, we already did it. So we can just URL encode the two variables here, like the term and the location. Let's say encoded term, and then const encoded location equals encode URI location. And bear in mind that this location here is shadowing this location. Okay, and now in order to redirect someone, we need to get the history object from our router, and we already URL encoded like our values. So that means if someone enters New York as location, then the space will be converted to %20. So this is important because an empty space is not a valid URL character. So all we need to do is we need to say history.push, and then we can go to /search, and now we only need to set the values for these two parameters. So find ascending, this is our term. I've put $1 here to have string interpolation. So this is our term, and find location, this is our location. And again, we're sticking to Yelp's naming schema. Whether this is the best thing to do, like, I'll leave that as an open question, but let's just implement the app like they implemented it. Okay, so this is the encoded location. Okay, and that should be it, I would say. So now if we go somewhere here and we search for burgers in Berlin, we get some result, and let's just say we search for barbers in Boston. Then we get some result for barbers in Boston, and you also see that the URL here has updated. So this is pretty good because now our URLs are more or less compatible with the ones from the original Yelp application. So that looks pretty amazing. What else do we need to do? Well, I was just talking about this spinner, right? It would be nice to have a spinner here, so we have a better UX. And the cool thing is that Bulma already provides what we're looking for. So there is this class is loading, and if you apply this class to something, then it's going to display this spinner here. And this is exactly what we want. So let's go to our code editor and let's create a new component. Let's call this component spinner. So let's create a new file, a new folder, and then 2 new files. So spinner.js and spinner.module.css. Okay. And let's create an empty component here. Import React from React, and then export function spinner. And then we're going to return something. And let's just go to Bulma. Let's just copy this. Let's just paste it inside of here. And yeah, we should see something. Now, I think we still have to tweak this one here a little bit. So yeah, it might not be perfect. So let's go to our search results, I think, component. And if we are currently loading something, so if props.businesses is faulty, or if the length is faulty or 0, then we're returning an empty div. And what we instead want to do is we actually want to return like a spinner, right? And this spinner, like, we just have to import it. So we can say import spinner. I think it's a named export, right? From, and then I think 2 up maybe, spinner, yes, spinner/spinner.js. Yeah, so let's go to our app and let's just see if this is working. Oh, and you see here on the side, we have a spinner, but it's somewhere like on the very left of our screen. That's kind of weird. So the logic works, but it just doesn't look right. So we need to do a couple of things about it. And the first thing I want to do about the spinner here, it's just too small. So let's say I will put the isLarge class here. And every time you put this isLarge class, it's going to make whatever you put that class on larger. And I also forgot to rename class to class name. So now our spinner looks quite okay in terms of size, but it's still like floating around here. So maybe let's create a CSS class to remove that border. And also it's not really a button, so maybe let's just create a div out of it, you know? It might be a little bit more, or a little bit better in terms of semantics. Yeah, so you see it's, yeah, we still have it. Okay, fair enough. Let's go to our CSS file. Let's create a new class and let's call it spinner. And let's just say border none. And then we have to apply this class. So we will say, we'll add backticks here, make this entire thing here an expression. And then we will say styles.spinner. And you will see that we forgot to import the thing. So let's first do that. Spinner.module.css. Okay. And you will see that basically nothing changes. And the reason for that is that our rule here is not specific enough. So this button class here from Bulma is enforcing like some CSS, like having a border and having a particular border radius. And our class here is just not specific enough, so it just doesn't get applied. So what we can do is we can just make our selector more specific. So we could say, if we have a class of button, if an item has the class of button and then the class spinner, then please apply this rule. And we need this global tag here because otherwise CSS modules would just like append some stuff to it to make the class name unique. And then it would no longer match because we are actually using button and not button underscore 567 whatever. because remember, CSS modules is attempting to make our class names unique. So let's load. Nice. And you see, it's kind of working. So the border is no longer there, but of course it's still not centered. So we need to go to our search results. And yeah, it's probably not a good idea to display it in here. So maybe let's change the logic here a little bit. So theoretically, we could copy just this div and then put the spinner in here, but that's kind of ugly because it's not code duplication. So let's just say, we say let search results equals spinner. This is a nice thing about JavaScript or about JSX. You can just assign JSX to a variable. And then we're going to do it the other way around. We will say if props.businesses is defined and props.businesses.length is truthy, then we are going to, oops, what was that? Then we are going to assign these things here, like these elements, to our search results variables. And otherwise, we will just show the spinner. And then all we need to do is show the search results. So this is like pretty dry. And this should show the spinner if we're loading. And it should show the results if we're not loading. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. And we're already over 11 minutes. So let's just stop the video right here. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure to give the video a thumbs up. And also in the video description down below, I've created an email list where I send a poll around from time to time. So if you guys want to see something specific, or have some feedback, or have like a particular idea of what project we should build, you can vote there. And then if enough people say that we should build a particular thing, then I will do my best to do so. So again, thank you very much. Please like the video, and also please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.